Hello, everyone. I have made another lab because, well, I was already kinda using Nightmare Moon before I was renting, so I thought it would fit. And I was bored. Anyways, I want to talk about beta readers. So my child of beta reader is someone who reads your draft during the editing process to give you constructive feedback and criticism so that you can fix your mistakes. And there are gonna be mistakes, trust me. For now, my only victims, I mean beta readers, are my sisters. To those who don't have siblings, you're probably thinking that not valid feedback because they are family and don't want to hurt your feelings. To which I say, you clearly have never had siblings, and to that I pity your lack of survival instincts. My sisters, while most of the time giving me very unhelpful feedback by comparing my draft to a book that's not in the same genre, age range, theme, or style at all, have given me helpful feedback that honestly made my writing better. This is because they can see the things I was blind to, and thus point out things that dragged the book down. For example, in my work in progress Twisted Wonderland retelling, which I'm still debating the name of, Celine, my main character, was a major pick-me, which wasn't my intention, and she lacked a lot of depth. In the earliest drafts, things were completely different than they are now. Celine also had unintended daddy issues, and my sisters pointed it out and gave me constructive criticism that generally made her more fleshed out. Using my earliest concept for this book as an example, Celine was originally the daughter of a wealthy man and had an evil stepmother, and ran away from home with her sisters. However, that idea was completely scrapped, and the only part one kept was the name. In the current draft, Celine is mixed-race, half Native American, half white. Her dad was an orphan who never got adopted and works as a dog trainer, and her mother is a veterinarian from the Muskogee Nation who had questionable genetic traits. You can guess how they met. The reason for this pairing and why her mom has blonde hair and gray, not blue. Gray is because when I was making these characters, I couldn't decide on squat, so I put a bunch of traits on some wheels and spun them. Like race, hair color, eye color, build, height, you get the picture. Her dad has heterochromia with one gold eye, one purple eye, but he lost his gold eye on a hunting trip and wears an eye patch. Another good example I got was in my Descendants retelling work in progress, when my sister compared reading the first draft to picturing my character walking through a white void. Because I had neglected to describe the world in any real detail, and she said it felt really flat. So I went back and really thought long and hard about where my character lived, and what emotions would one set seeing what she would describe. I also added new characters and locations to add depth to the world and to the character. I also had my spelling and grammar dragged through the dirt repeatedly to the point my sister almost threw my computer at me. And she hit me with a pen repeatedly. Sibling bonding, nothing like it. The problem is only my two youngest sisters have read one of my drafts in its entirety. The others never stick to it long. I mean, they don't read your books. One doesn't even read. One reads dark psychological horror stories and romance books, and the other reads true stories or poetry. One of the younger ones only reads realistic books, no fantasy at all. Think Little Women. And the youngest is 11. So not a lot of constructive criticism other than a scene is a bit sus. Which fair. Add to this already difficult situation, I write retellings, mostly. Most of my siblings don't care about that part. They don't exactly care for the medium my retellings are based on, but they don't care that I write them. Most of them. Because one of my sisters, every time she's in a bad mood and walks in on me listening to my book via the text-to-speech option on my computer to try and catch problems I didn't know were there, goes on a tirade about how I am going to get sued and I never write anything original. Mind you, I have original works in progress. Hook is Myths of Old, Labrie, and Feathered Friends. Though Feathered Friends loosely inspired by a game one used to play as a kid that I am 87% sure was just a fever dream mixed with dehydration. But she won't hear it. She treats me writing retellings like I am doing drugs, but only if she's mad. I still love her, though, even if objectively she looks like a small Mexican boy and reads genuinely messed up stuff that leaves me questioning a lot. Joking, obviously. I love her despite her ignorance of how retellings work. But I need consent beta readers who will give me feedback not related to a story about a man making a deal with a devil to stay young. And do horrible things without consequences and thinks as fine killing herself is hot. Only to at the end be killed by the painting of himself when he tried to rip it up to break the curse. Any recommendations where I can find some? I have paranoia about someone stealing my draft and publishing it before me. Even if objectively my draft is a dumpster fire, it's still my dumpster fire, and you can't take it. Any recommendations for sites or apps to get in contact with beta readers? Because I genuinely want more than just a handful of highly biased opinions. Catherine out.